Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and in this video I'm going to be taking a look at every single LEGO Ninjago Garmadon minifigure ever made, starting in 2011 all the way up to his most recent minifigure in 2022. This video, of course, is a part of my Every Ninjago minifigure series, and it's not going to be as big as the other ones because there's not nearly as many minifigures, but since Garmadon's a really important character, I thought he made sense as the best next character to do. Let me know in the comments which video you guys want to see an every minifigure video on next. Do you want to see another collection like every skeleton or every main villain, or would you rather see me go back and redo one of the ninja now that there's more minifigures such as Kai, Jay, or Lloyd? If you want to see the rest of the videos in the series, I'll have a full playlist linked in the description below. But now, with all that said, let's get started. So we'll start off with the first ever Lord Garmadon minifigure from 2011, the very first Ninjago wave. I hope he's picking up on camera okay, and that sort of just launches directly into my first criticism of this figure. The colors on him are not printed great. Now, they had a really cool concept, especially for 2011. He uses a ton of metallic printing for both his face and like this ribcage on his chest. In theory, that's a super cool look, but in practice, it just sort of feels faded, like it blends in with the rest of the torso, and it doesn't pop nearly as much as this character does in the show. As such, the metallic can just sort of be hard to see sometimes. So while I'm normally a fan of metallic printing, I don't know, I wish it was a little more vibrant, a little more obvious. I guess he is the king of shadows, so it makes sense for him to blend into the shadows a little bit, but I don't know, at least personally, I would have preferred if the minifigure was a little more visible. The helmet here is really cool. I believe this was the first and only time it was ever used in Ninjago. It's from the old classic ninja theme, though I believe this was a new recolor for it in metallic silver. And this might be a controversial take, but I actually prefer this to the newer helmet he gets in 2012. This just feels way more samurai-esque to me. It makes him seem a lot more threatening. There's how he looks with the helmet off too, and I do like the design of that face print, like very angry expression with his vibrant red eyes. But again, the entire thing's just very dull. I wish it popped a little bit more. Purple in the belt's a great color too. It would have been extra cool if it wrapped around, but it was 2011 and they didn't do a ton of back printing back then. So all in all, he's a fine minifigure. Definitely one I loved as a kid, and he's cool to look back on. But comparing him to more modern interpretations of this character, I think the helmet here is the only part that really stands out. Now, before I continue with the next minifigures, I want to take a moment to thank this video's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. If you don't know what a VPN is, it's a piece of software that allows your phone or your computer to appear as if it's somewhere else in the world. Now, this can be useful for a ton of reasons. It helps to keep your internet activity private so people can't see what you're up to online, but also it can give you the ability to do things that you can't normally do in your own country. For example, did you know that Netflix and other streaming services have different catalogs of movies and TV shows available depending where you are in the world? For example, something that I'm sure a lot of you guys care about, Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 2 Part 2 just came out like this past week. I'm lucky enough that I live in the US, in a country that it released, but I know it's not out in every single country. But with Surfshark VPN, you can make your device appear as if it's in a country where the show is out, and then if you go to Netflix, it's there for you to watch. Alternatively, here in the US, we don't have any of the LEGO movies here on Netflix. But if I switch my location to, let's just say, Denmark, they have the LEGO Movie 1, LEGO Movie 2, and the LEGO Batman movie just available for us to watch. Another example, this past week I downloaded the Pokemon trading card game Pocket app, and this is a game that's not supposed to be out until the end of the month, but it's doing beta tests in New Zealand. So using Surfshark VPN, I was able to change my location to New Zealand and get the app right now. Here, let's open a quick pack and see if we get anything good. We got Charmander, Gloom, Psyduck, oh, is that something? Slowpoke, and Machamp? That's it. Okay, we got Machamp. Anyway, point is, there's tons of other examples like this. If you change your country around, you open yourself up to so many more options. Surfshark also has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you try it out and you change your mind, you could get it back, no issue. Go to surfshark.com/bricksbymind for an extra 4 months of Surfshark VPN. Thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to the minifigures. Next up, we have the new version of Garmadon that was released in 2012, and this is basically just an upgrade of that 2011 figure that we just looked at. This was the first ever Garmadon minifigure to have 4 arms, and as a kid, I thought this was the coolest thing in the world. We get 4-armed characters all the time in Ninjago now, but this was the very first one, I guess, aside from Samukai. More specifically, though, this was the first one ever to use 4 actual minifigure arms, and I thought that was just so much fun. This new piece they introduced is super cool too, the way it goes over top of another torso, so it leads to just more customization options. Because with someone like Samukai, you couldn't customize that to go on other minifigures. They always had to have that Samukai head. But no, you could do whatever you wanted with this, and the texture on the front was really nice, fit well with the whole ribcage design. His helmet's also different this time around. It's the new Samurai X helmet they introduced. And as I said, yeah, I think I prefer that previous one. However, I like the color of this one more. Gunmetal Gray is super cool. It of course matches that upper torso piece, and it's a color we didn't see a ton back in the day, so it helped make this guy feel like extra special and premium. But if we take that helmet off, you can see his face print's still the same as the first wave. There might be a slight difference in print quality, like the teeth seem a little bit different here than on the other one, but it is technically the same face. And then if I take the upper torso off, you can see the lower torso is the same exact piece, but now there's a printed belt in the legs, which I think is a huge improvement. A very little thing, but it does change a lot. So again, I wish the ribs on the torso were printed a little bit better, but honestly, those aren't the end of the world, it's more the face. Aside from that, though, I quite like this guy. After that was Possessed Garmadon in 2013, and this guy's really weird because I don't know exactly what they were going for here. 90% of this minifigure is exactly the same as the one we just looked at. The only difference is he no longer has the bone on his helmet and has like these horns instead. That makes sense, it's meant to be the Helmet of Shadows from season 2 of the show, the helmet that allows you to control the Stone Army. And this is exactly how Garmadon looked during most of that season. However, weirdly in this set, he has like this samurai mouth guard. I think maybe the mouth guard's supposed to be like Garmadon's appearance when he's fully possessed by the Overlord and turns into the Overlord's like dragon form. That might be what they're going for here, but honestly, I'm not sure. Never really understood this guy. Still very cool looking minifigure. That mouth guard piece is amazing. It's a shame we don't see it anymore because I like it a lot better than the Samurai X mouth guard. But yeah, same as we just looked at. Same face print, same legs and everything. The printing on the face is actually slightly better here because I guess it's been 2 years, so they improved their process a little bit. Still the same exact print and still uses metallic printing and everything, but looks a little bit better, which is nice to see. But yeah, I really don't have anything else to say on this guy. Then we come to 2014 and 2015, season 3 and 4 respectively, and these were our two Sensei Garmadon minifigures, so I thought it made sense to cover them together. These two are definitely an outlier in the full Garmadon collection, but they're honestly both quite cool. I slightly prefer the 2015 version, but they're both really good, and I like how different they are too. Starting by talking about the face print and the hairpiece, it's a huge improvement over Garmadon's design from the end of season 2. They redesigned him for Rebooted, and that makes sense, because yeah, this looks a lot better. It was one of the more detailed Ninjago face prints for the time too. He's got like these big bushy eyebrows and like all these wrinkles on his face. I think they did a good job of capturing like the evil Garmadon personality while also still making him a lot more human. And then his hairpiece is Lloyd's in gray, which was great to get that part in that color because I don't believe we had that before. But then I love what they did with the torso. It's very similar to what we've seen them do with Wu, where he's got like an outfit underneath everything with a colored trim but then a robe on top. But I think it's a good contrast to Wu, using black as the main color as opposed to his white. And then he uses green for the trim to reference the fact that Lloyd is his son and Lloyd is the Green Ninja, so that's a very neat callback and a big difference from the purple that he used previously. The gray and white on top of everything looks really nice as well. And then he's got this quite elegant dragon symbol around the back and a little more green at the top. I also like the folds back here, because that's something we don't always see, but it's a little thing that just adds a lot of detail. Yeah, this guy's a quite good minifigure. And then the Tournament of Elements version I think really improves upon this. They switched to dark green instead of normal green, which I think it looks a lot cooler and definitely fits Garmadon's vibes better. I love all the metallic gold on this one too. There's a little bit on this guy, but it's definitely more prominent here. But the coolest part is definitely the back torso print, where you can see it's been torn open a little bit and you can see his Anaconda tattoo. This is going over top of that same dragon symbol that you can see is on both of them, and that green belt continues all the way around. Garmadon's time as Sensei Garmadon was short-lived, but I'm glad we got 2 minifigures of him and not just one. And they really went all out with these, they're pretty fantastic. My only real complaint is the printing on the tattoo part in the back is not the best, but that's just LEGO for you. It's something that happens all the time, still has not been fixed to this day 9 years later. It would have been nice to see that printed better, but what can you do? Now, there was no new Garmadon in 2016, but if we jump all the way ahead to 2017 with the LEGO Ninjago movie, we got the most Garmadon minifigures we ever got in one wave with a total of 6 different versions. Now, a lot of these share very similar elements, but technically there are 6 distinct versions, and here are the first 2. So this is like the main version of Lord Garmadon from the Ninjago movie sets. And this one on the right is the exact same thing without this cape piece, which normally I wouldn't count a variant like that as a distinct variant because it's just a less complete version of this guy. However, this guy only came in exactly one set despite appearing throughout the entire movie, while this guy came in lots and lots and lots of sets, so this was the more common version in those sets. The one with the cape though is amazing. I think I can only count in a single hand like how many times we've gotten a cape like this where it goes over the front and the back, but it brings so much more life to this figure and gives him so much more detail. I absolutely love how that looks. Garmadon's got a new helmet piece this time around too, which I think looks amazing. It's a bit of a shame to ditch the bone at the top because I feel like that's very iconically Garmadon, but this is probably the nicest individual samurai helmet we've ever gotten, even if it doesn't have the customizability of the previous ones. But then the biggest thing here, you can see he has an all new face print and they have ditched that metallic printing, which made me so happy to see. The actual design too isn't that different from his original design. There might be some slight differences in like the wrinkles and everything, but no, I'm comparing it to the original design. It seems pretty dang similar. But you can see the difference in using the light gray instead of the metallic silver. This face just pops so much more. He looks so much more alive. And great expression on him too. He's not just like generically angry. He seems mischievous. He definitely has a personality now. And I'm not going to take this cape piece off because if you want to see what that looks like, literally just look right here. Garmadon comes with an all new upper torso piece here to replace that old one, and it makes it look like he has armor on. I think this is an interesting decision. I don't know how I feel about it. Objectively, it looks pretty good, but there's a part of me that's just very nostalgic and prefers that original version. There's definitely more room for customization and creativity here because you can print on this flat surface, and we see this piece be reused on like Mr. E from Sensei Garmadon. But I don't know, there's something I really love about that texture on that original piece, which we will see is used in this wave, just not in the same context. I will say the actual printing here looks quite nice. The metallic silver here actually works surprisingly well. That might be partially a timing thing too. It's years later, so they can print that a little bit better now than they could in 2011. And here's a look at the torso with the upper armor piece removed, which you can see is very similar to the original, however they swapped out the purple for dark blue. Now that, in my opinion, is the biggest issue with this minifigure. I think dark blue is just so much more lame than the purple. I guess it fits better with the Shark Army, who were the main villains of the movie, but purple and black is an amazing color scheme. Black and dark blue, they just sort of blend together to me. It's not bad per se, like I still like the minifigure, and especially with the entire cape piece on this guy, it looks a lot better, but I think this guy could have been significantly cooler if all of that was purple instead. A great start though, a huge upgrade to the Lord Garmadon minifigures, and as I said, we're not done yet. We had a lot more from this wave. Because here is Pajama Garmadon, who's a really silly minifigure, and the reason I didn't take this guy down is because I want you to look at these two face prints. They both have this really wide smile, but if you look closely, they are actually different faces. This Garmadon's mouth goes slightly to the right, and this one goes slightly to the left. And they're both great expressions, I just wonder why they're different and why they're like this. Because in my opinion, if you're designing minifigures and you have the budget for two different face prints, you should make them more different than this. Because yeah, these are so similar. You could have done like a closed mouth smile, because I don't believe there's a Garmadon that does that, but that's definitely a face he makes in both the show and in the movie. Or I don't know, there's a million other expressions you could have done. It's cool to get these two versions, but they're so similar, I don't see the point of this. And you'll see in a moment, this is not the only one they did like this. Anyway, Pajama Garmadon comes with the Ninjago Movie minifigure series, and so does Vacation Garmadon right here. Pajama Garmadon is actually surprisingly fantastic though. You can see these two both bring back that original upper torso piece from 2012, but now it's been flipped around so they could print on the back to do more torso, which I think is really smart, and the textured design is now on the back instead, which I think actually fits in really well. Love the arm printing on this minifigure with all the little volcanoes, because Garmadon's base was in a volcano in this movie, and they did a great job to make these two torso pieces connect and even go down into the legs. This is such a silly concept for a minifigure, but honestly I kinda love it. I've not looked at this minifigure in a while, but honestly looking at it now, this is probably one of my favorites they've ever done. Genuinely just such a ridiculous and fun concept. And then Vacation Garmadon is also super silly. He's in like a suit and pants, which again, never expected to see Garmadon like that. He's got an all-new exclusive face print with sunglasses on, which looks so ridiculous. Those use metallic silver for the lenses too. And he has blonde hair, which is a big change from the show to the movie, and again looks absolutely absurd, but it fits the silliness of the movie. No back torso print on either of these guys in fact, which would have been nice to see. It's not needed, but it would have added a little bit of extra detail. However, he does come with 4 dual molded arms, which is very nice to see. Definitely the silliest Garmadon minifigures we've ever gotten, and for that I actually really like them. Finally, here are the last 2 Garmadon minifigures from the LEGO Ninjago movie. We have Flashback Garmadon and we have Jungle Garmadon. Flashback Garmadon's weird. He's also from the Ninjago Movie minifigure series, meaning there was 3 different Garmadon versions in that series, and his upper torso, lower torso, and legs are literally just the exact same one that comes in the sets. I guess they wanted a more accessible way to get this guy, because this combined with the helmet from Pajama Garmadon, you just got the normal version of Garmadon, but I feel like this guy could easily be left out. Anyway, I've got these guys here together because once again, with their face prints, they're very similar, but they are tactically different from each other. They both have this super angry scowl, but Jungle Garmadon's like squinting a little bit more than this guy is. And again, my thing is just like, what's the point of this? I really love the new face prints, so happy to get them. But if you have the budget here for 2 distinct face prints, why not make them more different? Again, maybe like a closed mouth angry face here could have been cool, because that's something we never got. It's not like this is easier for the designers, these are 2 distinctly different designs. They just look so similar to each other and I don't get it at all. But anyway, Flashback Garmadon's probably one of my least favorites just because he feels like an unnecessary variant. I like his accessory, but that's not really taken into consideration in this video, I just have it in his hand, but we're really only focused on the minifigure here. However, getting the newer straw hat in black was pretty nice. Jungle Garmadon though, I think is absolutely hilarious and super awesome. This is meant to be Garmadon without his armor, so you can see he just has like, what, 12 abs? That's such a ridiculous concept that I cannot believe they actually went for it. And then the leg piece is actually quite nice. It's somewhat subtle using dark brown, but I think it fits really well. Again, I feel like the dark blue belt's a little out of place, would have preferred purple there, but again, not the end of the world. And turning this guy around, he does have a back torso print, which is nice to see. Taking the upper torso off, you can see he has shoulder blades down there. And the upper torso, once again, is the one from season 1, just like in the minifigure series. However, this one's been recolored in black, which is a cool recolor to get. Jungle Garmadon comes with like this really sweet camouflage cape piece too. This guy's another super cool minifigure, and again, I love both of their face prints. I just wish they were more different from each other. But still, great additions to the collection and a huge improvement over the original versions of this guy. After the LEGO Ninjago movie in 2017, we had Sensei Garmadon in 2018, which included Resurrected Garmadon. This was our first Lord Garmadon from the show in years, and there's a lot of things I like about this figure, but unfortunately most of him is just reused from the movie. The one new part here is that upper torso piece, and I have to say, this looks fantastic. Really cool for LEGO. You don't see them do things like this too often, but it's actually like a little bit gory. His armor's been like cracked open, and you can see a little bit of his ribcage, and he has like this purple blood coming out. That genuinely looks amazing. Like, that is super cool. There's a little bit of Ninjago on the upper torso too, which the movie version didn't have, and that spells out evil. That's maybe a little on the nose, but I don't know, I like it. And I like that this is sort of his movie armor design, but it's broken and busted up. It's more than just like the crack on the side. You can see everything's falling apart a little bit more. They completely ditched like the blue tassels he had too, which I think was a great decision. The only issue is he still keeps the blue belt, which isn't the end of the world. He still looks good with it. But especially with the purple blood and everything, I think this guy would have looked way better if he actually had a purple belt to match it. Because this is also the show version of Garmadon, and he never wore blue in the show. Purple just makes way more sense for him. Luckily, if you wanted to make that customization, they did introduce pieces to make it very easy one wave later. But yeah, in 2018, this is what you were stuck with. The other thing with this minifigure is I feel like this face print doesn't fit at all. This works great for movie Garmadon because he is like this very happy, very goofy character. But for Resurrected Garmadon specifically, I don't know, he's a lot more serious than this. I don't know if he ever made this face in the show. Great expression and honestly works okay for like Season 1, Season 2 Garmadon, but for Resurrected Garmadon, not so much. I wish they had gone with the jungle angry face instead, because that one's still not perfect, like it doesn't fit his personality perfectly, but at least it's like an angry Garmadon, which is definitely what this guy is. But overall, still a very cool minifigure, just one that could use some customizations. And luckily, all the parts needed for those customizations were introduced in the very next wave of the first Ninjago Legacy wave. Throughout Legacy's lifespan, there was technically two versions of Garmadon, the Legacy Season 1 version and the Legacy Pilots version, but these two are literally exactly the same, the only difference is 4 arms instead of 2 arms. But I think these two are the prime example of a Legacy figure done right, because they take everything from the original Garmadon and just improve it while still keeping it very show accurate. So they brought back that original upper torso piece, but in the correct color this time around. And all my complaints I had about the metallic printing on that original figure, well, this sort of recreates that original face print, but now with the matte printing, so this face pops so much more and feels like a much more evil version of Garmadon. This looks great on the Resurrected Garmadon too. Personally, that's the face I used for it. But yeah, no more metallic eyebrows or metallic cheekbones or anything. This guy looks absolutely perfect. My only like very small issue with this guy is his helmet is black, and I feel like that just doesn't look the best. Gunmetal gray is what he had originally, and I think that's a huge improvement over this. However, if you want to make that customization, you can. It's not the end of the world that he doesn't come with it. And on all these Garmadon minifigures, in fact, it would have been nice to see an alternate face, because none of them got that, and I don't really know why, because it's not like he has anything that like peeks out the back of his head. I guess Jungle Garmadon wore a hat, but by Legacy they definitely could have put one in. But again, the face print's so good, it doesn't bother me too much. And this version of Garmadon does have a back torso print now with little shoulder blades. It's pretty much the same as the movie one though, with a purple belt instead of blue. So yeah, if you wanted to take that torso, put on a Resurrected Garmadon, it would look fantastic. Because as you can see, it's pretty much the exact same torso and belt design, just recolored. I really love what they did with these two. Aside from the helmets, they're pretty much everything I could want. Then here's a minifigure I almost forgot to include in this video, but remembered at the last second. We have Santa Garmadon. This is from the LEGO Employee Holiday Gift in 2021, and there's no exclusive parts, which is a little bit of a shame. It would have been cool to see like an actual Garmadon outfit themed around Christmas, like maybe that actually had the 4 arms. If we got like that upper torso piece in red, that would have been super cool. However, the idea with this holiday gift is they wanted fans that couldn't afford it to be able to still build it, so none of the minifigures or anything were exclusive, which from one perspective I get that, it's cool to make things more accessible, but on the other hand it would have been nice if this guy had some version of exclusive parts, because it would have just made him so much more cool. But yeah, as it stands, it's just like a standard LEGO City Santa torso, then he's got that samurai helmet and golden horns at the top, which is a fun choice, and if I take the beard off, you can see it's the Legacy head underneath. Finally, the most recent Garmadon minifigure was in 2022 with Ninjago Crystallized. We got Oni Garmadon. Now from a lore perspective, Oni Garmadon's really cool to finally get, and his first appearance in the show looked really weird, so I'm so glad they redesigned him here. Cause yeah, this looks significantly better and is genuinely an awesome minifigure. First off, love the new Oni mask face print, and the new helmet to go with it too is actually quite nice, cause now the mask doesn't accidentally flip up like it did on those biker helmets. Very intense expression too, with like the wide smile. I feel like that fits Garmadon really perfectly, especially after his redemption in March of the Oni. But then the torso and legs are probably the best we've ever seen too. My favorite part about this guy is how he sort of has Sensei robes on. If you compare him to the Wu minifigure from this wave, they actually sort of match. And that's neat to see, because we saw Sensei robes on Sensei Garmadon, obviously. But this is our first evil Garmadon to have an appearance like this. Purple hands was a great change too, it just makes the entire figure pop so much more. But then they keep the purple belt from original Garmadon all the way back in 2011. Which legacy figures did happen, yes, but the last time we saw this guy in the show, he did have the blue belt. So I'm so glad to see they switch back to purple here, because it just fits him so much better. If you look close at the printing too, the armor he's wearing underneath everything matches his like movie armor and his resurrected armor. And then if we take the mask piece off, unfortunately it is just the legacy head underneath. It works fine, it's not like a bad head per se. And then back torso print, he's got like the symbol that Wu typically has on his back, which again, it's cool to see that consistency. I love the way those two matched in this wave. And then the legacy Skulkin armor is like nothing amazing, but I suppose it works fine here. It sort of matches the movie upper torso piece. But that sort of leads into my one and only issue with this minifigure is he only has 2 arms for some reason. And if you've seen the show, whenever he's in Oni form, he always has 4 arms. That's a bit unfortunate. You could sort of make a custom using some of the older pieces, but it's not perfect to the show. And this guy looks really cool as is, but he would have looked so much cooler with the 4 arms. So I really wish that had been included. That being said, I still think he's probably the best Garmadon minifigure of all time. I'm looking at all of them on my desk. But you know what? I'll get into that in the summary at the end of the video. For now though, I'll just say I really like this guy. He's a great minifigure. Aside from the upper torso piece, he does pretty much everything I could possibly want. And there you have it. There is every single LEGO Ninjago Garmadon minifigure from 2011 all the way up until the most recent minifigure in 2022. Now the elephant in the room is we have not gotten a new Garmadon minifigure in 2 years. I believe this is the longest we've ever gone without one because the only other year we didn't have one was 2016. And I don't know what the future for this character holds. Dragon's Rising seems to be leaning more into new characters than older characters, but technically this guy's still out there, and he does seem like a character they're willing to pursue because there's been comic series about him. But it was a lot of fun to look back and see how this minifigure evolved over all this time. Obviously a lot of these minifigures are very similar. Aside from the movie, there wasn't a ton of design changes over the years, but I feel like he's a character where most of the changes they've made have been improvements. Like every Garmadon minifigure feels better than the last, and the only like negatives are personal preferences. In terms of favorites, I'd probably have to go with Oni Garmadon, funnily enough, Pajama Garmadon, and then either 4-armed Legacy Garmadon or Movie Garmadon with the cape. Though I think Oni is by far the best. Like, if that had 4 arms, it would just blow everything else out of the water. But even without them, it's still really high up there. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these minifigures, which ones were your favorites and which ones were your least favorites. And as I said at the beginning, let me know in the comments which collection you want to see in every minifigure video on next. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say, so thanks for watching everybody, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you again to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this video. Go click the link in the description for an extra 4 months free. Thanks for watching everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.